Hey Mar, my name is Neil. I'm with Dorkaholics, where we believe that there's a dork in everyone, and it's our job to bring that dork out into the world.
Great. Hi, Neil. Thanks for having me here. I'm excited to talk to you here.
Of course. So I like to break the ice and ask, what made you a dork growing up?
Oh, that's a great question. Uh, I feel like I did have some interest in kind of like traditionally dorky things. I remember like growing up, we played a lot of Magic the Gathering, me and my brothers did. And I think, oh, I used to get made fun of a ton for that. I think that was the most like even the dorks would make fun of me for playing Magic the Gathering kind of thing. But I'd say probably the thing that I dork out most is like sport, like sports fandom, like the NBA. I've been playing fantasy sports since I was like 8 years old and like putting money on fake sports teams.
I mean, I gotta ask, I only played Magic the Gathering once when I was younger, and I moved on to like Digimon, but what deck colors were you running for Magic?
I was a green. I played a lot of green. That was my and even now like I'm starting to get back into it a little bit. Uh, and it's so complicated, right? They have all these different kind of deck combinations and different colors and stuff, and I'm like, I just want a single color green deck. I think that's the most fun for me.
So you just had the music video for Red Camry come out, and it's clear through both the song as well as the music video itself that it's about themes of loss of innocence, as well as how we take that step forward into the future to carry on with our lives in a way. I'm curious what experiences in your own life or the people around you that you know kind of influenced the song and the direction for the music video.
Yeah, great. I wrote the music video. I was out drinking with some friends, and I take the SkyTrain home to Richmond, and I don't know, just kind of in a low mood and just feeling kind of a certain way about how my social interactions were going and where my life was at that point in my life. And getting off at the Richmond Brighouse SkyTrain station, there's like an intersection there, and a group of teenagers like ran a red light in this red Camry, which is why, Red Camry. And I wrote the song from that, kind of recognizing that that used to be me. That used to be the way I had fun. It's kind of driving around Richmond with my friends late at night. And they're laughing and the music is blaring and stuff. But I don't do that anymore. And for better or for worse, I mean, they broke the law, you know? So I'm like the old guy who's like shaking his fist at them, being like, hey, you guys broke the law. So that was kind of my loss of youth moment that happened for that song. And eventually I brought it to some friends who really liked the song and kind of resonated with that loss of youth as well, but in a different way. They'd come from Egypt to Canada for school and wanted to talk about how they lost um, they grew up, I guess, in their formative adult years here in Canada and didn't get to see their family for years and years and what that meant coming back and missing their brothers and missing their family. And I thought it was really neat to kind of see two different ways that we interact with a song. And they wrote a story, we filmed the video, and it turned out.
We have Ricky and Curtis playing brothers, Sam and Kenny. Was there a particular brother you leaned more closely with in terms of like their character and within that music video story?
That's a funny question. I never thought about that, but I think the younger brother, the one that Ricky plays, and I'm the youngest of three brothers, so I think that's kind of why I relate more, but also because at the end of the video, he runs as well as his older brother did all his life. Um, and I kind of like that idea of picking up little habits and quirks from your older brother, for better or for worse.
What is the Filipino community like in Canada? Because I have family, a cousin-in-law from Winnipeg. So through her, I knew about the Filipino community out in Winnipeg, but it sounds like you're over in Richmond.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's lots of Filipinos here in Vancouver. I think Winnipeg definitely has got the most in Canada. I think tons of people go over there. I'm surprised that I'm not over there myself, but there's there's lots over here, and it's a pretty rich tapestry of different folks, ranging from kind of generational Phil-Ams and newly immigrated Filipinos, and OFWs as well as more established families that are over here. So it's rich. There's a lot.
What can you tell us about the upcoming album release, whether similar themes or new themes you're going to be exploring, or where you're at with the songwriting?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I so in couple in a month, sorry, I'll be releasing an album. A couple singles kind of coming up towards that. Definitely some similar themes as far as growing up here in around Vancouver. Um, and kind of the ways that the city has impacted me, particularly in a sonic way. So in terms of a Vancouver sound, it feels like we don't have that anymore, and we used to. We used to have kind of a unique sound that came out of Vancouver, and I'm trying to kind of find what that is. And I think the album explores that a little bit, as well as, you know, more emotional things in my life.
Since the album's going to touch upon like the loss of innocence and the progression of life into adulthood, is there anything that's been kind of bubbling in your mind that you wish you could tell younger you?
Yeah, wow, thank you. Actually, yeah, the past couple days, I think regret is fake. I think we shouldn't regret things anymore. I think the person you were when you made that decision for a very good reason. And I think you should trust who you are to make the decisions that you're gonna make. That's that's my words of wisdom.
I mean that resonates. I more or less agree. I think we can normally trust ourselves in most cases that we're making the most rational, logical decisions, even if in the future we're like going, well, that didn't make sense, but I'm not as smart or experienced as I am now.
Exactly. At the time it made sense. Then that's why you did it, you know? You're not I think you should trust yourself more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I mean, with that, what's been the biggest lesson that younger you has taught older you then?
Wow. Uh I guess kind of related to that, but I think impulse impulses happen for a reason. Like there's something bubbling up inside you that causes you to do something. I think that'll either be a good thing or it'll teach you a lesson one way or another. I think uh, follow your gut. I guess it's the same kind of lesson, but coming from a looking back aspect. I don't think you should look back and regret. And I also think that you should listen to yourself and just go forward.
How has your music career progressed? Because I'm curious how those maybe certain impulses have helped you with your trajectory.
Yeah, I think there's so many different ways to make a career out of music these days. And there's a globalization of music creation, music production that's allowing people to create in ways that weren't traditionally possible. So we have DAWs and recording equipment in people's bedrooms and my bedroom. I mean, I got great equipment here. Um, and then you also get the kind of TikTokification of sharing media. It means there's so many different ways to succeed in the music industry. I've learned to kind of not listen to every bit of input. And those could be inputs, but they don't need to be the output. And I think it comes down to that trusting your gut and trusting what you're good at and trusting what you can do. I think it's come out really great in my music. I think I've created something that's really unique and something that's truly me and truly mine and truly the city's. And I want to rep that now. I want that to go forward, not something that I heard on TikTok that comes from wherever else, you know?
What's coming next after the album release, if you can share a bit about that?
It's tough to say, to be honest, Neil, because I've thought about nothing except for this album release for 2 years. But I think I'd like to go somewhere else. I think I'd like to relocate. I've lived in Vancouver most of my life. I was born in Manila and moved here quite young. Um, and I'd like to go somewhere else. I think that's my next goal.
To tease the album release a little bit, if Red Camry is a flashback to one night where you're seeing a bunch of youngsters zip past a red light in their Red Camry, is there any other personal anecdotes that inspire a track on the album?
There's a song called Saint Anthony, and I don't know if are you Christian at all?
Um, I could be better. I could be a lot better.
Anyway, there's a song. I guess we should start with there's a patron saint of lost items that at least my mom likes to pray to a lot, called Saint Anthony. And when you're missing something, you'll pray to Saint Anthony and find something. And I tend to lose things a lot, and I tend to lose my phone a lot. Like there's a year when I lost my phone, I lost or broke my phone like 10 times in a calendar year. Not good. I'm not. This isn't like a flex. But every time I do it, I'd promise myself like, oh, that's the last time I'll ever do that. I'll take care. I'll take better care. And I find myself still losing it. So it's that idea of something being lost forever. And then being able to lose it all over again. So we talk about innocence or we talk about regret, and we lose these feelings forever. We lose this kind of point of view forever. And you think that that's the last time it's going to happen, then it happens all over again. So that's a track called Saint Anthony that I'm quite excited about.
But how would you describe the sound of the album overall? Is it pretty consistent with Red Camry, or do you do a little bit of exploration outside of those sounds and genres?
I think Camry is a good primer for it. I think Red Camry sounds a lot like me. There's this kind of I guess Frank Ocean. I'm like a disciple of Frank Ocean, right? Everything I do is to be like him. But I think the album leans more on this kind of indie rock aesthetic more than I ever have. I've always stayed with this alt R&B thing, but I think Vancouver, at least in my high school days, had this really unique West Coast indie rock with grunge rock from the, you know, Pacific Northwest. And I've never been able to put that out in my music until this album, and I'm really excited to do so. I think it's a lot of fun to find the marriage between all of my different influences.
That is awesome. Just because when we talk about vulnerability, I think it's natural for people to think of songs that in the R&B genre because it's sultry, it's warm, it's soft. But indie rock is also a great genre for that because that raw angst also comes through.
It allows me to I'm kind of known as a crooner a bit when I sing, you know. Exactly what you're saying, this kind of sultry, softer performance, but it allows me to kind of step out of my shell a bit more and get more yelly with it. So I'm excited about that.
Besides being a vocalist, are there any instruments that you play as a musician as well?
Yeah. I mean the album is I produce the album. I play most of the things on the album. I mostly play the piano, uh, bits of guitar and bass and saxophone, but I'm not very good at those. Uh, but the production part has been a lot of fun for me, and I think that's something I'm going to explore once the album's over, and less on the artist side of things, but more on the producer side of things. I've had a lot of fun kind of collaborating with different local artists and seeing where those production chops come in.
Are there any collaborations on the album?
A couple, yeah, a couple dear friends of mine, Aaron Marcus, who actually today just released an EP, and Cardias King, who they've shared so much knowledge with me over the past years of getting to know them. Um, and I was quite selective about making sure that the right people were on this, and I think they were. I think the album kind of talks a lot about the lessons that I've learned throughout my life, and it documents these stepping stones that made me the person I am. And I'm glad that it's those two who are on it with me.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Mar. I'm looking forward to the album. Can you tell us the name of the album as well as the release date?
For sure, it's called Almost, and I wish I knew the release date off the top of my head, Neil, but I'm gonna look at it right now. Uh, it'll be out on July 25th, and
July
that's
25th.
very exciting for me.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to the album. Mar, congrats again on the work that you're putting in. I can't wait to see the audience reception.
Thanks, Neil. I appreciate it.